In this video, I invite you to talk about performance analysis in football. We are going to consider the most modern techniques applied in this area and how they can help us in improving performance. As usual, we start with the definition. Performance analysis is a specialized discipline that provides players and coaches with information regarding their performances. It applies to all four performance components and additionally can be stored in the database for future comparison with previous performances. There are many areas of application of performance analysis, including training prescription, tactical adjustments, talent identification, and players' rehabilitation. The biggest European football clubs have entire departments of in-players whose only duty is to analyze players' performance. When it comes to timing, performance analysis is usually divided into pre-match, such as the analysis of the upcoming opponent, real-time, that might be employed in the halftime break, and post-match, which is commonly used for training prescription and during tactical meetings with players. There are two considerably different types of performance analysis. Here we have qualitative performance analysis and quantitative one. Qualitative analysis constitutes a subjective judgment or opinion of a coach, whereas quantitative one is based exceptionally on objective measurements represented by numbers. While qualitative analysis has been a traditional historical approach in coaching, quantitative analysis has been used extensively only in the last decades. The main benefit of qualitative analysis is that it makes use of the expertise and experience of a coach, while the main advantage of quantitative analysis is the objectivity. Qualitative analysis doesn't require expensive equipment and can be conducted very easily, whereas quantitative data can be accessed anytime and used for comparison between current and previous performances. The problem of qualitative analysis is that research demonstrated that coaches have limited recall ability and do not remember all the events that occurred during the game. At the same time, quantitative analysis usually requires expensive equipment and not all football clubs can afford it. Research also demonstrated that coaches are open to personal bias, emotions, and high levels of subjectivity, whereas quantitative data can be easily taken out of context and misinterpreted when judged by inexperienced coaches or analysts. To be a successful football coach, you will need to combine both of these methods. Because qualitative analysis is pretty obvious, we are going to consider just the quantitative one. Quantitative analysis is further divided into motion and notational analysis. Motion analysis focuses exceptionally on the physical aspect of performance, whereas notational considers technical, tactical, and psychological aspects. Let's first start with motion analysis. Motion analysis focuses exceptionally on players' movement without attempting any qualitative evaluation. Some examples include total distance covered, the overall amount of sprints performed, and total time spent in sprinting. Motion analysis can be either semi-automatic or an automatic GPS analysis. Let's first start with the semi-automatic analysis. The most known providers of semi-automatic solutions are Prozone and TrickUp. These systems rely on cameras that need to be installed at a home stadium to track every player on the pitch. Semi-automatic solutions need to be monitored by specialists who correct tracking errors when players are bunch-tapped in restricted playing areas. That's why such systems are just semi-automatic. Okay, let's now have a look at fully automatic GPS systems. These systems require players to wear a relatively inobtrusive vest that contains a GPS unit. The most known providers are Catapult, GP Sports, and StatSports. Having the same functionality as semi-automatic systems, GPS systems additionally provide information on training intensity via monitoring players' heart rates. Okay, let's now compare semi-automatic and automatic GPS systems one by one. The advantages of semi-automatic systems are that they have very high levels of reliability and validity, and there is no need for players to wear any transmitting devices. Because cameras need to be installed at a home stadium, semi-automatic systems are only suited for home fixtures. The systems are also very expensive and require trained personnel to ensure their correct functioning. In contrast, in GPS systems, the data is gathered completely automatically with no need for any intervention. They're also portable and relatively inexpensive, so can equally be used during away matches and sessions. Unfortunately, GPS systems are still disallowed in some leagues and competitions. Also, some players might feel uncomfortable knowing they are constantly monitored. Okay, let's finally consider the notational systems. Notational analysis represents an objective way of recording performance so that critical events can be quantified in a consistent and reliable manner. Most notational systems record the following parameters: the action performed together with the outcomes, the player that performed that action, the time of the action, and the position where the action took place. According to your needs, you can record just some of them. For example, just action, player, and time, or only action and its position. The father of notational analysis was Professor Thomas Riley, who worked closely with Everton Football Club and first used the pen and paper approach to quantify match performance. But today's performance analysts make use of computerized notational systems. The most known providers are Nuxport, Dotfish, and SpotsCode. Let's have a closer look at Nuxport, the favorite notational system of Unai Emery. In Nuxport, you are going to analyze the defeat of Manchester United against Brighton as part of the 18-19 Premier League season. And the head coach asks you to pay attention to poor first touches, defensive positioning, and poor one-on-one challenges. Okay, let's look at the right first. Here you can see our specially designed buttons template. And because Jose was interested in poor one-on-one challenges, poor first touch under pressure, and poor positioning, we added exactly these buttons to the template. For example, when you see a one-on-one challenge at the video on the left, you can click on the one-on-one challenge button. You specify whether it was successful or unsuccessful and which player performed that challenge. Let's now have a look at an example. Here you can see a poor one-on-one challenge performed by Ashley Young. So you can stop the playback, click one-on-one challenge button, unsuccessful, and Ashley Young. And from now it is stored inside our database. Let's check it on the left panel. Yeah, here you see one-on-one challenge, first half that has been added automatically, unsuccessful, and Young. In this way, we keep on gathering all the stats of the actions that Jose was interested in. Once we have all the required data collected, we can go to our dashboard and take a look at some charts. Here you see that 1/3 of first touches under pressure and 2/3 of one-on-one challenges have been unsuccessful. This is a pretty big number, so we can report it later to Jose. And if you click on unsuccessful first touches, you can see all the situations where Manchester players performed a poor first touch. Here you just saw the one by Lukaku. You can then easily export all these videos into one file and present it to the head coach. The same with poor positioning. You can see that throughout the game we've got 14 critical positioning issues. And again, if you click on the label, you can see all of them and present it later to Jose. In this particular case, you might notice the very large distance between two center backs when protecting the middle. We are not going to consider all Nuxport features, but I think you've got an idea of how this notational system works. Okay, that's it for performance analysis. Stay tuned and thanks for watching.